Welcome back to the Registered Ranching Podcast. Cracking cold ones already.
Brought to you by Ranch Fuel, right?
Well, brought to you by Ranch Fuel. Welcome in. That's Cole Snider you're listening to. Jumping in behind the mic with us today, and I gotta give you the cheer.
Oh, thank you.
It's like I have to.
In front of our live studio audience here in Throckmorton,
Live
Texas.
stock audience.
Thank you to both of you.
Yeah. Willie, first pod of the year.
First pod of the year. What a great way to start it.
Yeah, starting it off with Cole Snider. You kidding me?
2024 is a good year for you guys. So was that the podcast coming back, or was this the first year of Registered Ranching?
That was the first year of Registered Ranching.
Right. Well,
I mean, I say established in 21 just because that's when I started doing all the
first video.
Yeah, like
First two.
being a TikToker or the first Registered Ranching?
no,
I guess you did.
it was probably the
I got
reels and TikToks is when that started.
Nice.
Does that make me a real cowboy?
I think so. Anymore nowadays, yeah. I mean, everybody. It's just a version of it. I don't think I work for Dale Brisbee, so yeah, I'm not going to say that being on TikTok does not make you a cowboy because I truly don't believe it. Some of the best cowboys I ever have known always had great Snapchat stories. So really, you're not doing anything
is
different.
true.
Yeah, I mean,
That is a great point.
ever since Snapchat has been around, there have been Snapchats with horse ears in them. So I really think I wish I could get a hold of the first one, the first guy who was like, "I'm
That
riding
would
a
be
horse."
such a story. Take us through what you were thinking to get. Snapchat's got to have it.
Yeah. So no, I think anymore nowadays it's
That's
just
a good point.
it's just branding.
It is. Marketing yourself, man.
Yep.
And you know a little bit about that. Well, let's go back. So yeah, you already mentioned you work for Dale for like what, 3 years now?
3 years or something like that. Yeah, a little while.
A little while.
A lustrum.
Do you like that mango ranch fuel?
I do like the mango one. I went on.
What's your favorite?
It's either this or the kiwi.
That one. Kiwi watermelon.
Kiwi watermelon. Yeah, the kiwi watermelon's not bad. I'm interested. I like them. I have found that a ranch fuel is kind of like a slow drip. It's not like it's not like one of those awful energy drinks that just gives you a jolt right there. Like these ones are.
It's a subtle increase.
Yeah.
No, I like them. But if you use code Tucker Brown at ranchfuel.com, you get 15% off.
And you can see for yourself.
Yeah.
But,
The agave limes and the blueberry pomegranate is still my favorite.
Right.
Lemonade all the way.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a blackberry lemonade guy.
Don't have it, but I love it.
So let's go before then. You worked for Dale. We're going to look at 1,000-foot view of Cole Snider. You've had really, really successful riding bareback.
Yep.
You
He's roped a mountain lion. I just want to make sure we come back to that.
I've never.
Oh no, you've roped a bear.
Tell them why they should keep listening. Why should they keep listening? Because
roped
we're
a
going to
bear.
tell stories about roping a bear,
I just
riding
wanna get that
bareback
out there.
riding, ranching in Montana.
Yep.
What do you do for Dale Brisbee?
Well, to get started, I never roped a bear. I worked for a guy that roped a bear.
You witnessed it?
What's that? Nah, we'll get into that one later.
Okay.
But
We used to give him. Carson and I never got we never gave him the chance to give a full story. He's like, "You didn't rope a bear," and he would try to finish it, and we're like, "No, you didn't do it." And you could tell it was really making him mad.
I worked for some guys that did. In fact, one of their Snapchat handles, is Bear Roper.
Takes it off like a t-shirt.
Yeah,
Well, I still say that.
Your handle, like you gotta.
Yeah, man, no, he lives it. He said you had to rope bears on the first hop. But so I was born in Washington. I lived in Enumclaw, Washington, and I grew up there. And my dad rode broncs and did rodeo art, and then Danger Dan. He rode broncs for a long time and bulls. So we always grew up around that. And in my mom's family, they always had trail horses and 4-H stuff, and so we started junior rodeoing, and I was going to be a bull rider for a long time. I wanted to be a bull rider. I did not want to ride bulls. I think I turned out on a sheep once. Like I was just terrified of it.
Weren't about it.
It was not about it. It wasn't about that life. And then, high school comes around. I start wrestling. I didn't really rodeo much. I mean, I did finish 6th in the state dummy roping. In the
Flex.
Washington State Junior Rodeo Association, the NJRA.
NJRA. Okay.
Yep. But and then when I was 19, I was elected the state president of the Washington FFA.
Flex.
And so I went around
No,
that.
wait. Say that again.
I was elected the state president of the Washington State FFA.
Really?
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
So that was my senior year in high school.
Wicked smart.
Double flex, dude.
Wicked smart. Yeah, just was able to give speeches.
Can you do it? I believe in the future of agriculture.
With a faith born not of words, but
He says it with so much disappointment.
I just
There's so much disappointment.
no, I did the creed. No, I did the creed, but I didn't have because I didn't like we had some horses and everything. We had some pigs, but I wasn't a farmer and I wasn't a rancher. I was just kind of
You're just Cole.
I was kind of just a half-assed cowboy guy, or at least I thought I was. And then I knew this ag advisor, Rod Cool, and I remember I was going to ride bulls again. I had friends that were still rodeoing, and I told my dad once, I was like, hey, I'm going to enter this bull riding. And my dad goes, no, that's the dumbest thing you've ever said. Like, I hadn't been on a bull or anything, in like years. And he said, do you even know where your rigging bag's at? And I was so mad at my dad. And he was like, no. He's like, that's dumb. He said, why don't you want me to rodeo? It's like, that's what you always did. And he goes, if you really wanted to do it, then it wouldn't matter what I said. And I was like, I hate you, but you're right. So then I'm traveling around with the FFA and this ag advisor, Rod Cool, in Lake Chelan. And his son, Tucker Cool, was an FFA, was state officer too, and his daughter was Sammy. And anyway, but at his rodeo, he kind of figured out that I wanted to be a cowboy and everything. He goes, how about you get on a bareback horse? So I borrowed a rigging, and I just hadn't really told anybody, just entered this rodeo. And I think I spurred him once and then just swung a leg over, and I was just hanging off his side, but I thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
That's crazy. Like, I don't understand how bulls scare you and bareback horses scare the crap out of you.
I don't know, it's just a horse, I never really thought of it.
You're glued to the back of it. It's not just a horse. It's a freaking.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm all right.
But then I didn't. So then I was going to be a bareback rider. So I ended up. I was going to go wrestle at the University of Great Falls, but then I got to talking to the rodeo coach, Dick Lyman, who's a great big man.
John Wayne looking
dude, and he was awesome. He had a rodeo company, and his family was always so good to me there, and he let me get on the rodeo team. So I got on my third bareback horse at my first college rodeo in Cody, Wyoming, and I think that horse kind of ran out for a ways before he started bucking, and I was riding him backwards by the time he got to the fence on the other side. And which is an awful spot, hands still in the rigging, but I remember just looking at my rigging backwards, this is going to be a tough one to get out of. But and anyway, I struggled. I think I covered one horse that year, and then I think I rode bareback horses for maybe 5 years until I had anything close to success on it. It was 2018 when I finally started to be able to ride bareback horses.
That's a grind.
Yeah, and because I was in college and I transferred to the University of Montana Western, but I would go to school for a while and then I wouldn't be able to afford the next semester, so I kind of would have to work for a while. So I was kind of at this in between, So I college rodeoed a lot, but I didn't have any sort of success to my last year. And then anyway, so I was in Dillon at the time, and then I had bounced around at some ranches and worked for a couple. I ended up at a place
in Montana.
Yeah, in Montana. Okay. In Dillon. I worked for several different places over there. Then I ended up staying at the Dragon Y. I really liked it there. And then from the Dragon Y, I left and rodeoed for a while, and then I would go back. And then I had a job building fence. Osborne Fence and Fabrication. Then I would go build fence for a while, and then I went back to Dragon Y. And then I ended up at Riverbend. And at Riverbend, I was going to started rodeoing again. And anyway, I just entered. I had done really well. I had entered this rodeo in Idaho, and the woman I would later marry had won a demolition derby on the same day. So I thought, oh, it's perfect. Everything's coming together. And then the next day I entered a rodeo, and I got on this young horse, and she just fell over, flapped down, and ended up
showing the hand.
Broke my wrist.
Zoom in on that.
Yeah, broke my wrist all up and everything, and it kind of took the sand out of bareback riding for me for a little while. But Riverbend was a good job, and I had just started there too. It was real embarrassing. I called him. I called my boss, this guy John Ward, who's a great boss, and I was on painkillers. I'm so sorry. I messed up. I was just looking at the floppy hand, being like, "It's bad." I thought they were going to have to cut it off, and anyway, I stayed at Riverbend for a while, and then I kind of just I had seen a Dale Brisbee video, and I had sent in a video to Dale Brisbee to try to get to try to be an intern once before, and they had said yes. But at the time, I was at the Dragon Y, and I kind of just really loved it there. I really had no intention to go anywhere else. It was the perfect, right? It was my favorite place in the world. And
Where were you when I FaceTimed you? Because remember how Dale would have me FaceTime people when I'd wear
Yeah.
like a sports coat and a tie? Was
yeah,
that
so-
at Riverbend?
yeah, I was at Riverbend then.
So remember, you're in the truck with a bunch of other guys.
Yeah, and
ranching.
we were we were just riding through pens, you know. And anyway, I thought I'll send another one again, and they got like right back to me. So then it was kind of like, oh man, like I had worked for so long. I was never a very good cowboy, but was lucky to work with like all the good ones, you know, for where I was at. It's like, dude, all these guys that were just top hands, and I was just tried so hard, and it's like, oh, I wanted to be working with these guys, but it's like I always wanted to see Texas. I always wanted to try to do something creatively, and they had just I left on really good terms with them. Like they were really cool, and said, oh, we ought to. The one regret they had was that they had never gone out and tried anything else before they had settled down. So, so they told me to.
So you did.
So I did. I told Grace I was going to go down to Texas for a month.
Who's Grace? You gotta.
Grace was just my girlfriend at the time. Told her I was going to go down to Texas for a month, and then a month turned into 2 months, and then 2 months turned into 3, and finally she calls me one day crying. She goes, "Are you going to stay in Texas? Like, if you're going to stay in Texas, just tell me, and I'll move down there."
He just couldn't get enough of me.
Yeah, so I went back up there. I proposed to Grace because I didn't want to have to live with a girlfriend. I would rather live with a fiance. So also I wanted to marry her. I knew I was going to marry her.
Just to clarify.
Yeah, just to clarify.
Good recovery.
The love of my life. So I proposed to her. We moved back down, and I remember like we had outran a tornado on the way down here. Women pack a lot of things. They needed a lot of things to make a house, right? And so we had a 16-foot box truck with Grace's car being towed behind it, and we're headed for Texas, and it all goes pretty swimmingly until we start getting like to the Panhandle,
Tornado Valley.
and it's raining, and there's a steady stream of cars going the opposite direction, and there's water running over the road and everything. But we're in a big old box truck, like we ain't gonna hydroplane this thing. And we keep driving, and we finally get to a town. I mean, wind's picking up, sirens are going off. You know, there's nobody. I remember this semi. I think we were in Quanah, and the semi just peels out of the gas station and starts heading the other way, like just smoking his tires. Maybe we ought to check the weather report. So we check the weather report, and it's a hunker down, like everybody get indoors, don't stay where you're at. We thought, oh boy. So, and Grace very calmly just said, "I think we can outrun it. It's coming from the east. We're headed south." And as long as we were headed south, we were ahead of it. It was all fine. But every time we would jog over, head back east, it would get bad. And for the life of me, I was from up north, Washington. We didn't deal with tornadoes. I really thought there would be like a sign that said,
Tornado ahead.
Tornado ahead, yeah. The possibility of just blindly driving into a tornado suddenly came upon me, and I thought, we could die out here. I've had a family for 2 days, and I'm about to kill all of us. And anyway, yeah, we made it. But we made it, and we've been in Newcastle, Texas ever since. So
you skipped over your success in the bareback riding. I mean, I know you had some success, and you
don't hold out on us. Don't hold out on the viewers, Cole.
You went 5 years before finding that success. But what was the success you found?
I was it was in the Amies, like the Pro West. I'd won the Pro West Rodeo Association a couple times, and made several finals and stuff down there. And I had just finally found a groove. It started, not like it's a good story at all, but I was dating this gal at the time, and anyway, it went south. It's a much longer story, but I had moved back home, to help my folks out and everything, because at the time,
Back to Washington,
and At the time I had this job, I was managing apartment buildings for this millionaire gynecologist. Seriously. And so he had this old hotel that was a whorehouse. And I was basically hired as this college kid to help renovate it. And my dad, and anyway, I break up with this gal, and my dad came up just to spend some time with me, and my dad comes up there, and we have the best weekend me and my dad had ever had in our lives. Like, it was great. We just hung out, and then Monday we go to work, and Dad's a cement mason, but he's just real handy with his hands, so we're just getting stuff done, and I realized, the light at the end of the tunnel, man, finally over this breakup. And I walk downstairs, and Dad's upstairs, and he's on this ladder, and he's putting some spackle on, like, the molding around this big, like, just old lobby. And I walk downstairs to drop something, and I just hear it, and I just hear a thud, and I walk upstairs, and that ladder had slid out from Dad, and he'd gone like 14 feet straight to his face.
Oh.
So I see my dad there, and he's peeled open basically from the top of his nose to the bottom of his chin, and he didn't knock him out. I remember my dad is just like spraying blood. He doesn't really know what happened, so I take him to the hospital. So now, on top of being sad, I was like, and now I've crippled my father. Great. And I go back home and to take care of my dad because it also broke his arm, and aside from splitting his face open, and it also broke his arm, and then he had it was awful. I'll go back home to help out with my family, and I didn't have a job.
Yeah,
I was just working out, and finally it got to the point where it was like, I haven't done anything with my life, and I was like, I'm a rodeo. Like, I'm in shape. I've got all my stuff. Like,
you know where your rigging bag was.
I know where my rigging bag is. And I had gotten to the point I could get to 2 rodeos and I could enter one of them. And I drove with my dad. We went to McMinnville, Oregon. And I get on. I'm the only bareback rider. It's the sun. It was a 2-day rodeo, and I was the last bareback rider. I was the only one up on this performance. And I put my rigging on and everything, and I really just said, screw it. Like, if I die, nobody cares. If I can't possibly be any more broke than I am right now. It's like, if I get hurt, it's not exactly a job I'm going to be late for. I was like, I might as well go out swinging, So I get on this horse, and I'm trying to get my rigging tight. And if you put your bareback rigging a little too over that horse's withers, you can pull and pull and pull, and it's just never going to get tight. And that's basically what was happening. I would pull, and my rigging is still loose. And it'll go over the front, like if you have it too far forward. But I would just pull, and the grand entry is over, and the stock contractor, and we're all looking, and it's just like, hey, man, are you going to go? I was like, you know what, screw it. I'll get on. And
no one is about to be bad.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, okay. And so I nodded my head on that horse, and I think I was like 85 or something. So I ended up winning that one. It was a really good check. I don't remember how much it was, but it was like a lot more money than I had. I was like, okay, all right, not even going to pay attention to that one. That was just a fluke. I went to Lake Chelan, and kind of the same deal, where I was just kind of, no sheets to the wind, and I won that one too. And then I was like, all right. I'm just not even going to think about this at all. Just going to go into the next weekend with the same reckless abandon as I do now. And I basically just kept doing that for a couple of years there, and it kept working out for me.
So you were rodeoing full time, basically?
Yeah, that's all I was doing. I was just going to amateur rodeos, and I went to a couple of PRCA ones. I didn't have quite the same luck that I did, but because at the time COVID had hit.
Oh, yeah.
Well, and I remember some guys, like, I really wanted to go to some pro rodeos, and I remember the guys I was going with, I went back to the Dragon and Wine. I was working there, and I was going to rodeo. They were cool with it, and these guys, they just said, yeah, we're going to a rodeo. I'm like, where's it at? They said, Arkansas. I was like, shit. I got to be back Monday to work. And meanwhile, the top 15 in the world, it's a wolfy time. During COVID, the rodeo, it was a very wolfy time. These guys, like, that is all, like, you were going to go up against the top. I'm making excuses.
But, like, wherever you went, like, Arkansas is one of the only places they're having rodeo that weekend. You're going to have all the top guys going.
Yeah, and it was like, oh, okay, so I kind of took some time off during COVID, and then I went back, and that's when I ended up getting hurt. But But yeah, no, it was a good time. I learned a lot. I met a lot of great people, and it was a lot of fun.
Was that your last ride when you broke your wrist?
Yeah, that was the last one. I haven't been on since then. That one. That was a couple years ago now.
You plan on going back?
Maybe I get the wild hair every now and then on me. You know,
You get the feeling, get that.
yeah, I get pretty giddy.
Get
You're
that
still in
chill.
rodeo though. You're a pickup man now. Tell us about that.
Oh, I mean, I
That's pretty cool.
yeah, I pick up at Dale's a lot. I don't know if I would call my.
You've done some ranch rodeos.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to pick up at some, and I really enjoy that one. I mean, I get to be around a real pickup man, and they've got a lot of horses, and you know, I've really only ever owned one horse my whole life, Blueberry Jazz.
Yeah.
Blueberry Jazz. So, and we'll get back to Blueberry, but I've really only ever owned one horse, and you get to, if you really want to pick up, I mean, you got to have like 6 or 7, and they've got to be ready. So so that makes it tough. But you know, if it happens, that'll be cool. I like picking up. I like being involved. I like working a horse, training a pickup horse. It's very fun.
Did you work that deal with Dale up in Lubbock with Servy?
Yeah, we did the ranch rodeo there at Cook's Garage, and that was a good time too.
You did the one at Stanford too, didn't you?
Stanford, yeah, a couple. I picked up.
You've been at some big places.
Oh, I mean, yeah, and then the first rodeo that I got to pick up, you know, as a pickup man, like they gave me a chance. It was me and one other guy. I got my dirty ass kicked. I don't think I've ever. There was one horse we couldn't get him. It took like 5 minutes to get this horse out of the arena. This horse was just a dirty, didn't like people, and I remember I rolled my ankle like I just got
Everything went wrong.
I just got the hell beat out of me.
You were using one of Dale's dad's old horses, Radio, wasn't
Ziggy.
it? Ziggy.
Yeah.
Radio was the other one.
Yeah,
How's your hand in your mouth, son?
Sorry.
yeah.
I was thinking. I was trying to give it back with my memory with all these names. It's Charlie Brown.
But yeah, no, Dale. I mean, we got a couple. I don't think we have enough. You know, we have enough for one person to go pick up a full rodeo, but not the whole thing. And yeah, so that's on the goal list. You know, I'll get there one day. Right now, it's fun to do.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, let's go back to you sent a video into Dale
Yep.
for the second time.
Yeah.
Some jack
They
wagon
said,
and
yeah.
a sports
For
coat.
someone who doesn't know who Dale Brisbee is, which I feel like a lot of
You ought to
listeners
know
would.
who he is at this
But
point.
let's just make quick clarification there.
The world's greatest bull rider, Dale Brisbee. Started a YouTube channel maybe 11 or 12 years ago now. Got a show on Netflix.
Yep.
Clothing brand, rodeotime.com. They've got the rodeo. They've got a podcast. It's a media company. Yeah.
Plug.
Shameless plug. Yeah, it's just a great brand that DB's created. Granted, he's at the center of it, but he's kind of made it to just allow all these people who want to come and rodeo and everything to come into this one spot and to simplify it in its most purest form, to fold T-shirts and ride broncs or ride bulls, whatever, to rodeo. Like he made this place that yeah, it's just kind of a paradise. If you want to get on bulls or broncs, like there's fewer cooler places to be. Mm-hmm. He's just got the gym, and you're around good people. You know, it's pretty awesome, pretty badass.
So that was after you had broken your wrist.
Right.
Were you planning on rodeoing?
I thought maybe I would, you know, like maybe I would get it, but I was more just thinking, all right, I've always been creative somewhat, you know. I was always talking in front of people or giving a speech or performing a wedding or playing guitar or doing something. It's like I've always done that. I've never tried to make money off it at all or just try to do anything with it. So I thought maybe that would be interesting to be down there. And yeah, so that was my goal. And I had folded T-shirts. I mean, I was brand new to the place, you know. They don't hardly know me. And I had folded T-shirts and everything, and we had done that. And then Dale he had kind of pitched me an idea of the rodeo show, which, you know, he just said, I'm just thinking a news format, like an SNL thing. And I said, awesome, because I had a journal and I would always write ideas down in it. And so I scripted out this whole deal, the rodeo show. Willie was my co-anchor on it.
I remember.
And it was hilarious. I mean, we had fun. It did not perform well.
I think the best thing that come out of it was the interviews with Kevin.
Yeah,
Kevin killed it.
Read between
Yeah,
the lines.
Kevin killed it.
Where I would just write all the questions or anything for Kevin to give these awful interviews.
And Kevin, I don't think Kevin half the time was able to look at them before he started asking.
Yeah, I wouldn't give
would be in
Kevin
real
the
time.
questions until he got in there, and we just had it was so much fun.
It gave me like a Napoleon Dynamite feel.
He killed it. He killed it.
It was and it was I mean it's you could probably say it's just a ripoff of that whatever the guy on Barstool that does it, but
Yeah, but
yeah.
it was just fun because so many of the interviews you see with rodeo people or ranching people, like they're all just very canned.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
brought a lot of fun to it, like a lot of humor to
Yeah,
it with
so
how
it
you
was-
wrote the questions.
Yeah, so it was just a good time. And
Hey, Cole, you just rode Neon Moon. What does it feel like?
exactly. And it's like, all right, we'd know what he's going to say for the most part, So it was really cool to do those. And anyway, that kind of just snowballed into me being able to write ideas for skits or bits or commercials or whatever we do. And yeah, like I said, it just kind of snowballed into that. And I still get to be a cowboy, and I still get to shoot horses and do all that. And it's just it's a really cool spot. And I'm very fortunate.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean, you've gotten to, you helped out at the Sixes number of times.
And then didn't the shoeing horses is something that happened while you're at Dale, and then didn't Dale help you get into the school and go to that
Yeah,
school?
so I mean,
He's the one that funded that because that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I had shot a couple horses back home, mostly just because I was sick and tired of having to pay people to do it. And back home, like you'd have to wear sharp shoes most of the time. So you kind of had to do those yourself, And so I had kind of done that, but I could get a shoe on, but I could not tell you what I did or why I did any of the things that I did. I could just I had the vaguest idea of what I was doing. And so I always wanted to do that. So, yeah, I ended up going to the Texas Horseshoeing School. And I just took the 2-week program. There's a 2-week, a 4-week, and a 6-week. I just took the 2-week. And, yeah, I got to do that. And it's just fun. I like shoeing horses. Dare I say I'm kind of built for it, just real low to the ground.
Not short.
Yeah, no, I
Just low to the ground.
Who's taller, you or Donnie?
Donnie is, yeah.
Donnie's shorter?
No, I think he's taller.
Okay, that's what I thought.
But who knows?
The world may never know. The world may never know.
But who knows? But yeah, so I still kind of fiddle fart around with that, and just do that on the weekends. I figure if your hobby is something that sucks, nobody will ever try to take it away from you. So,
There you go.
That's a good point.
yeah, I like doing it, and I really detest having to pay somebody to do something I can or that I can do.
Yeah.
And I'm weaning out of it, but yeah, I keep a few clients around, just easy horses. I'm not trying to be a professional shoer, but I'd like to be the best one I can be.
Little ranch fuel money or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Little bedrock money.
I don't know. There's been times.
Bedrock truck beds.
Yep.
Plug. One day. But yeah, no, I don't know. I've forgotten to charge people several times. I just like doing it.
Dadgummit. Can't be doing that. Well, I want to move into, I think a lot of people are really curious about what being a quote-unquote intern at Dale's looks like.
Yeah.
And what that day-to-day looks like. And I know people seems like, I bet they feel like they know you from watching you on all of his Instagram Reels, TikToks, all that. But if you had to give a day-to-day of what it looks like working at Dale's,
Right.
what does that look like?
So rodeo time, I mean, we've got the media team, and then you've got like rodeo time media, then you've got rodeo time. There's two, so we have videos. We've got videos. We have to film those and edit those and distribute those, so make sure those are posted. And then we've got the T-shirts. So obviously, I mean, we have merchandise that needs to be tallied. Orders need to be shipped out, need to be put out. We've always got the cows and all the animals at the ranch, so those need to be fed and taken care of. And yeah, just keeping all the business going. So your day-to-day depends on what side you're on. I'm on the media team, so a lot of days can be, we've already filmed something, or we're going to film something, and then once that's filmed, that we'll need to edit it, chop it up, get it distributed. Then we need to brainstorm, for whatever videos we're going to film next, or we might be going somewhere. You just never know. But like I said, I'm very lucky. I'm on the media side of things, so yeah, we've always got to come up with skits or ideas for vlogs or just what we're doing, if, whether what we're doing that day is worthy of a vlog and getting that out. And every now and then, we'll have to film stuff specifically for sponsors, and so we'll have to do those every now and then. But yeah, that would be the typical day for me. I mean, I'm on a computer a lot, but it evens out. There's plenty of days when I was just ranching that I would have killed for a desk job.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty good balance between.
I think tomorrow will make that
yeah,
for us.
it is cold
With that storm coming in.
Yeah.
Rain, snow and stuff coming in tomorrow.
What'd they say, like 6 to 9 inches or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I've never seen snow
We're going to be
like that.
clipping bulls.
I've never
And heifer check starts tonight.
Well, I work for Registered Ranching, not for the R.A. Brown Ranch.
Yeah, no, I'm not really ranching, but yeah. So that's that's what I would say the day to day like. Plus, we've always got booths.
Booth life's pretty fun.
Yeah, if you see us at a booth, that booth had to be packed up and driven out there and set up and worked, the whole time. So it's always something. It doesn't get too monotonous or anything. It's always changing up.
What's your favorite booth to go to?
I don't like going to any of the booths.
If you had to pick one,
None of them.
it can't be the NFR, but if you had to pick one, which one is it?
National FFA.
Really?
It's a good
Well, I
one.
mean, it's a long drive, but it's only 3 days.
Yeah, and it goes by quick.
It's just
Because it's short.
you're already headed back home by the time.
Dude, there's a 2-hour line for
Yeah.
Dale every time.
It's insane. And then this year he had a broken hand, and he's still.
Yeah, he couldn't shake anybody's hand.
No.
People were mad at him.
I remember you.
Were they really?
Last year at National FFA, you told him it was Dale's birthday. Like you told the huge line. It was Dale's.
Every now and then, just make sure he's alive.
People really got mad that he didn't shake his hand.
A few.
Didn't he
people
have a
did.
cast on it?
I think he had it splinted.
Like
or
it's
something.
visibly
Yeah,
hurt. Like, hey man, I'm sorry, I can't shake your hand.
really did break this. Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah, he did that. He had it's coming out in a vlog later, but because he had broke his finger when we picked up in Lubbock, and then he had smashed another finger on that same hand. His pinky is all messed up on it now. I don't know. Yeah, I made the joke. It was just like, I don't know what you did to make God angry about your right hand, but he really.
It's a good thing he rides bulls with his left.
Exactly. It's good. Well, I felt bad. He pinched it off. Or he should have lost his finger. He pinched it in a head catch, kind of an old school one, and it should have come off, but it didn't. So thank the Lord it didn't take off his finger. But I felt guilty about how I was already thinking if it had took off his finger, I was going to grab it and be like, "We need to get you out of here."
Pointing at him.
Which way are we going? That way, over there.
Of course you did.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a good time.
How many other people you work with over there?
Let's see. We got Donnie, Jordan, myself, Ty Rogers, Carson Sanders, Kevin, and Cameron, and Clay, and Harrison. So 9 interns, and plus a few other local people who work in there. Then we got another guy in the office. So yeah, about 13 or 14 people.
Do you think Dale thinks I'm trying to steal you since Willie's over here right now?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. No. I mean,
You'd be a lot more help at the ranch than me.
What's that? Oh no, I was never that good of a cowboy. Like I said, I was
neither.
Just,
That's Tucker.
I was just around a lot of good ones. I was very lucky. But no, it works out pretty good. No, you guys are just good neighbors.
Just good neighbors.
It's kind of funny, like how many ranching YouTubers are there? And it turns out they live 30 minutes from each other.
30 minutes.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I remember when I first kind of started doing it, I was asked the YouTube stuff, or really just the social media stuff.
Yeah.
I remember asking Dale a question, and he's like, well, if you're not the first, you got to beat the best, and you're neither of those.
It's brutal, but it's honest. That's truly it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, I mean, yeah. There's a lot of podcasts out there. It's become more accessible. Like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't take much to be an influencer, but anybody can be an influencer.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Right? I don't like that word, but
It's kind of got a negative connotation to it.
it
doesn't
really does. I don't really know what you're influencing. Maybe people's spending habits, perhaps. But I think it's just more about being authentic, and
Right.
I think you nail that because you're able to be authentic. Like, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you work at the R.A. Brown Ranch. You're pretty invested into that one. I mean,
Yeah.
it's and I don't think you can just be a fan much anymore. I think you have to be invested in it, and people crave authenticity. A lot of people, you can watch a TV show, and that's one thing. Like everybody likes actors, but actors are playing a part.
Yeah.
And I think anymore nowadays, that's why people are drifting towards longer format media is because it is authentic, and that's real people telling real stories about whatever the hell it is. If somebody had a really good story about flipping burgers, I would listen to it if they were passionate about it.
And so what's hard, I feel like you have a really hard job of making this skit for a character and staying authentic.
Yeah,
Like that's a hard line to walk.
I think it can be, but
Well, like as far as like you can't fake you guys bucking stuff at the house. Like there's
Yeah.
none of that. That's all unscripted.
yeah, that's just real. And I think it's more because people in the ag world, like everybody makes it laugh because at the end of the day, it's like if you're working in agriculture, the wide umbrella that is agriculture, you're gonna they suck. Sometimes that job sucks. There's no overtime for farming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or ranching. There's no overtime for that. And I think the only way,
Glad I'm not the only one.
dude, yeah, I mean, but
I didn't know if my dad was just lying to me.
yeah, but there just isn't. And in that way of life, you're always going to be behind. You're no matter what, get as far ahead as you want. You're going to be behind. Problems are going to happen. And I'm sure you can make the argument that any job is like that. But in agriculture, it's just understood you're going to be behind, and you're probably not going to make money. In fact, you could work so hard and work every day and then still be broke at the end of it, and it will all have been for naught. So the only way to really get through with that bleak of an outlook is to have a sense of humor,
Yeah.
and to be able to take shots and to keep on trucking. So I think why we resonate so well, or at least a large part of why, is that everybody is already funny. Like everybody. Like I had a job once at a ranch. It was actually one of my first actual ranching jobs, not working for a rodeo company, but a ranching job. And it should have been just so easy. We were branding on top of a hill, and we had broke for lunch. And the boss, this guy named Jake, who was great, he gave me my first job. He said, "Hey, if you just want to hop on a four-wheeler and drive down there, there's a calf. He was really sick. Just go doctor him real quick, come back up here. You'll be back here. It should only take you a few minutes." So perfect, I can do that. Of course I can do that. So I drive down there on the four-wheeler, and the only calf that I find out there jumps up and takes off. Well, I'm not gonna say I didn't doctor this calf. So I take off after him in the four-wheeler, and there was a poly rope, on front of it. And I finally, chase this calf. I get him lined out right alongside this drainage ditch. This drainage ditch, and it's about maybe 6 feet deep of water. And I finally roped that calf, and I thought, oh, thank gosh, I got him roped. And then the rope gets all tangled up in the steering wheel, and that calf takes off, and it jerks the steering wheel on this four-wheeler, and it drives it right into the ditch. So now I'm angry. There's a calf tied on the end of this thing. My four-wheeler's stuck, so I wade into the water, and I can't get it out. So this task that was supposed to take me just a few minutes, and now I'm stranded 500 yards away from the branding. So I start walking back just soaking wet. And my buddy J2 comes and picks me up and drives me back up there. And I remember the boss, he looks at me and said, "You aren't much help, but you do make everybody laugh."
It's worth something.
It must be worth something then. So, yeah, I could always make people laugh, but.
Could they see you from the top of the hill?
Yeah, they saw the whole thing. They saw the whole thing. And. Yeah, so that was just I could always make people laugh. It never benefited anybody but the 6 people that heard me. So now it's just if I can make authentic humor, that appeals to those people and a wider audience at the same time, then it feels pretty worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you made a point earlier. We got to have lunch at the Country Cafe. Elite food dining.
Very fine dining.
in Throckmorton.
Do not reuse plates. That's where they draw the line.
That's where you draw the line. You made a good point where we have a lot of college students come to the ranch, and there's a lot of them that have the goal of, I'm going to own my own ranch one day.
Right.
And it is probably harder now more than ever to do that, to buy your own ranch.
Yeah.
You could say it's impossible. One of the owners of one of those ranches, Roger Peters, had told me, because I had told him I had a very similar goal, and I went to him that I wanted to own cows, I wanted to own a ranch, and he had said, "Well, you can't buy a ranch with a cow. And I thought, never has that ever been more. There's a time you could.
Yep.
Yeah.
That, maybe back in the day you can, but yeah, nowadays if you're like that's tough. You got to have like I don't know. You have to have. He told me it's funny. He even told me he's like, unless you got a job on the internet or something, you're never gonna afford a ranch.
Well. How the
haven't thought-
turntables
Look at
turn.
you now.
I took it seriously, but yeah, and also owning the ranch is not. There's different problems that come with owning a ranch.
It's a lot more fun with other people's cows than yours.
Well, it's just different responsibility. The guy that owns the cows, he might not have to worry about his power bill or anything more so than you do. But he could lose the whole ranch, and you unemploy 15 people or however many people, or your family legacy is suddenly gone, and that's what you have to wake up with every day. And if you think about it in those terms, it's pretty easy just to go work a ranch. Owning one, it's very different. And maybe one day, I think I would like to own at least a spread. I don't know if I'll. I mean, it just depends on how the joke riding goes. We'll see how big that ranch gets.
But I think you made my dad calls it, what does he call it? Creative finance. But the way he says it, creative finance.
Finance.
Creative finance. And it seems like that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like did you think you were going to have the opportunity to work at the Sixes whenever you came down here?
Not once, or even pick up. And because I don't want to say that I never would have gotten a chance to do those things, but it was kind of a long, it wasn't. First off, I didn't have that many horses, and I didn't, there just weren't that many opportunities for me to do those things, or even if there were, I wasn't able to take part in them.
Right.
And I got to do a lot of fun things, and I used to just think that the handiest guy got to own a ranch. Like of course the best cowboy will make it pay, and not always. Like a lot of the guys that I respected more than anything, they had creative finance, whether it was selling horses or being able to get a job done on a young horse and make money that way, or starting your own business alongside the ranch, or however it goes. I figured out that's what it was. And I mean, some of these guys that I had looked up to picking up, and it was just like, oh damn, you own a what kind of business on the side? Like, no kidding. Like, I did not see that one coming. And it's a tough thing to mature into, and I'm still getting used to it. But to think that doing anything besides cowboying could make me a better cowboy was very foreign to me at all. Like I had this horse, Blueberry Jazz. I learned so much from. It was one of the bosses I was talking about, John Ward, and he traded me a Ford Ranger for this horse, Blueberry Jazz. Blueberry Jazz was like 10 years old. John had started him, and he could do it. He did everything on him. He was broke, but he bucked all the time. So John was about the only person that could get by him. So he just had him turned out, and he goes, I got a horse for you. So I see Blueberry Jazz, and Blueberry Jazz is this beautiful bay horse, and but he bucked every time you got on him. And I mean, maybe not right away, but he will buck, in those first few minutes. And I once rode him for 30 days straight, like doctoring, because I only had one horse, and we were doctoring yearlings, and I rode him for 30 days straight, and he bucked every day. And on day 31, he didn't buck, and I thought, I've got you. I got him. I'm gonna I've got you.
What do you do on day 32?
This beautiful son of a buck, he's gonna be worth something. And I thought, oh man, I've finally did it. I'm a good cowboy. And then I just remember, because then this yearling took off, and it was like I just put out my rope just like that, and he tore into. I yard sailed it, landed on the only pile of rocks. I went through the gate and everything, like just cussing. I'd lost my rope. I was holding on to my kennel at one point. So then I had to quit picking that fight. But Blueberry Jazz, I could fill novels about that horse. But the reason I say that was just I didn't have enough horses, or maybe I wasn't very smart. First off, I wasn't very smart. I was just a good employee. I was going to be a good employee. They're not going to they're not going to fire me without a conversation or something, you know. And I was like, I wanted to be good help, and I wanted to be a top hand. I never really, I never tried to branch out from that at all. You know, I just wanted to be a good rancher.
Well, how about that ag gear shirt you're wearing though?
Not bad, not bad. Oh, you mean with the this is the
Perforated arm, stockyard.
Stockyards. That's right. This is the Stockyards shirt. I believe this is a champagne colored or copper. I'm not sure, but they are great. They are nice shirts. The phone pocket is a game changer.
Oh yeah.
That one, because one thing about in Texas, you know, you don't have many. Back home, I would always have a vest on year round. You can get away with it. Down here in Texas, no, there's
Not exactly.
no,
Yeah.
there's definitely some weather where you don't.
And you can have an iPhone now with that pocket and not a flip phone.
You can have. I did. Yeah, I
had a flip phone for the
I had
longest
one of
time.
the flip.
Uh-huh.
flip
Oh, I
drive.
remember.
I loved that phone.
You did.
Golly, it sucked.
Hi, I'm Cole Snider. Here's my phone. Check this out.
Everybody always wanted to talk about it, and I
did.
thought, it fits in a front pocket and everything. And then it's no fault of Dale's, but like I got out of the pickup once and DB ran it over. Like, we were turning around, I got out, ran it over, and then all the replacements ones ended up blowing up. They weren't very good phones.
Golly.
But anyway, so yeah.
Well,
back
go to use code Tucker Brown.
At
You can get 15% off on ag gear, all your ag gear clothing.
at egggear.com. I got
With this vest, it's my favorite ag gear vest.
new colors in stock now.
Yeah, they got some cool ones now.
Yeah, I got that Dillinger jacket. I like that one. Waxed canvas. Yep. It's a good jacket. It ages beautifully.
It does. You get character pretty quick.
Sheds water, blocks the wind. I mean, what more can you ask for from a jacket?
Wow, it's like you're a marketer or something.
You're good at this, huh?
Dang. You looking for a job?
It's a nice jacket. No, I'm not.
What is your? Well, you were about to say something. Yeah.
Oh, I think I was just going back to, creative finance. Like I just always thought, to be a good cowboy, you had to be just the best cowboy. And I think to some extent, yes, absolutely. Like you need to, obviously the guy who ropes every day is going to be able to rope better. The guy that rides his horse every day is going to be a better horseman. But so for a guy like me, who is the best at none of those things, who just wants to be capable at those things, to give myself the opportunity to do the things I've done with the people that I've gotten to do them with. I didn't see that one coming. Like
I think a lot of it too, we say is a lot like your net worth is your network. And like you being able to be placed with Dale and the crazy networking that he has, like you're able to go to the sixes, you're able to do all these things. Like I called him and left him a voicemail. Like I've been starting to get on bulls again. I've been going down to JB's. Like there is no way that JB Mooney would reach out to little old Willie Wardle from Maryland to get on bulls without him knowing me through Dale.
Yeah.
And because of that networking, because of what he did, and the same thing with you being able to go to the sixes, like how powerful that is to put us in these opportunities just because we went and worked for Dale.
Right. Well, and that's the part, being around a guy like Dale or Tucker, you kind of skip the part of having to meet people when you move somewhere new.
Or in my case, like be good at it.
It's not lost on me. Like, Dale, he's, Dale knows me pretty well. And I like to edit and I like to make videos and everything, but I like to ride horses, and he does pretty good making sure I have chances to do that, and it's pretty wild. Like I don't know, the guy kind of has to have some perspective on it, having done it somewhere else when it's just you. Like it's a tough business to just get entered into. So it definitely it's like, nice.
Tucker's like, I know this one ranch that my family runs. You can come help out at that and hang out and pretend to be a cowboy if you can make these videos for me.
Exactly.
Like, it's pretty cool. And I think another thing, too, with the podcast you guys did with Donnie Gay, how he was talking about Larry Mahan and how great he was at marketing. Like, Larry Mahan would have had a YouTube and an Instagram. Like, he was that business savvy and that creative financing. Like, it's no different than what you and Dale are doing right now. Like, but Larry Mahan just didn't have Instagram at the time. He had newspapers and calling, like he's talking about, like having all those media people come and creating a brand for himself. Like he's not doing anything different at all.
Well, that's just branding. No matter what.
And I think that's smart because I think a lot of rodeo guys are starting to do that, and a lot of ranching guys are starting to do that because, like you said, influencer has such a bad name on it. But really, what you guys are doing is creative financing. You guys are finding ways that, like, because rodeoing, you see like these guys at the NFR are making $400,000 at the end of the year. But you got to take into account the expenses, the medical bills, everything that goes into that. Yeah. It's like really what they're doing with their brand. Like they're just marketing themselves, and the same thing that Dale's doing. He's just marketing himself and creating a name and a brand.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like just running cows isn't going to pay.
Yeah. Nope, and you're right. And I think no matter what, whether it's on the internet or who knows. I know one ranch. I mean, I think they lead trail rides too. Hell, the Wright's grandpa, he did that for a while. I don't know if he still does, but the Methuselah
Just
of the
gave
Wright.
trail rides.
He would lead trail rides and everything. It was like, I think agriculture, farming, and ranching people have been creative like that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it's just
It's the same thing that
facet of it.
What's Farmer Froberg say that he does?
Profitable solutions.
Profitable solutions.
Yeah, anytime
Like
he
the
has a
same
problem,
thing.
he's like, how can I get paid to fix this problem?
Mm-hmm. And then you market it through social media.
Yeah.
Like
That's the whole reason I ever started playing guitar was because I had looked at how much I was spending per month, right? And my biggest expenditure was the bar. Surely there's got to be a way I can go to the bar
And drink for free.
and get paid for it. And it turns out, if you play guitar at a lot of these little bars, you can drink for free and you get to keep your tips.
you got to be good at it though, and you're pretty much. The first thing I normally
Like a
say about
human
people,
jukebox.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna say. I introduce people as like, yeah, this is Cole Snider. He's like a human jukebox. He can play any song, and he can't just play it, and it kind of sound like play it to a T.
I think it's more just like I was saying while I was ranching and while I was in college too. I really did look at I didn't really look at my expenses, but I realized like I'm spending a lot of money at the bars, so that's what I did, and I could kind of play guitar, and but these bars, they might pay you $100 to play,
Yeah.
but you can play for as long as you want. You can drink the whole time, and you get to keep your tips. So doing the math really quickly in my head, it's like, okay,
I'm gonna get paid to go to
the
the
longer I sit up here and play, and
The more I drink, the more I get paid.
the longer they drink and the longer I play, like the more money I'm gonna make. So it was nothing. I would just sit up there and play guitar for like 6 hours or something, like just nonstop.
where
And you
you're-
can't,
that's in the grind.
there could be 7 people in the bar, but by the time the bar starts to close and they're plenty drunk, I mean, they're gonna start tipping if you play their favorite songs.
So what you're saying is we need to get Double D's opened again.
That was a good time. But I
I
mean,
love double D's.
yeah, that was
bar.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a bar here in Throckmorton where we kind of all started hanging out with Tucker
Yeah,
Brown.
that is true. That's
From
when
the
we
beginning.
were first acquainted. But it was a great time. And anyway, yeah, got to be creative. Like that was the only thing I did outside of work to make money was play guitar.
What's been your favorite part of working at Dale's? Or maybe favorite experience?
Yeah.
Would that be a better question?
I mean, spring work at the Sixes was pretty unforgettable. Like
Yeah, that's
I'll
pretty
never
cool.
I'll never forget that one. Like that one was tough to beat. Like I don't know what else could have beat that one. I think just the day to day is good. Being around good people. I mean, when we buck horses and everything, that's beyond cool. Like that sort of thing just doesn't exist. Doesn't exist very many places, if anywhere, and that's pretty tough to beat. And also I think it's just. I don't want to say purpose, but it just feels like it's a good place to be, and I finally get to do something with all of these crazy ideas in my head. 'Cause before it would just be like I would try to formulate a way this could be funny.
It's almost like the
joke
job
or
description that Dale was looking for was perfectly tailored for you.
Yeah.
Like someone with a bunch of cowboying experience who also rodeoed, because not every single cowboy is
Yeah.
rodeos. There's a difference between a ranching working cowboy and rodeo cowboy. So you've done both, which
Yeah.
Dale is both of Dale's audiences. You're creative. You wanted to write stories, because I remember you and I were going to Fort Worth and you were talking about, I've always really wanted to write Western movies.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty dang close. You're getting to use that.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else is more tailored for like all the talents and the skills that you have where you can thrive.
Yeah.
And you're killing it.
It's pretty it's pretty tailor made. I wouldn't Dale's always worried about me leaving, but I was
It's going to be hard to find a place where you can
it's gonna
put
be a
all these
hard
skills.
place to find like that, And it's not that I don't. What's that? Yeah. Good one.
Well,
yeah,
you're
that'll
gonna
be
have
funny.
to you're gonna have to get buck and shoots. I've been trying to convince
would,
Tucker.
you're right, I
I
would.
told Tucker, I was like, "You think we can get buck and shoots?" He's like, "No, my dad's not gonna let that." I was like, "What about when you take over the ranch?" Now.
No need. But it's just and it is uniquely tailored for me. If I had to ride out, and I grew up watching Roy Rogers, and I thought that was a job for a long time, like just being Roy Rogers, and I thought I'm going to do that. I don't know if I don't necessarily have like a face for camera or anything. Or I guess I don't crave the spotlight as much as not that Dale craves it any more than I do, but like I always wanted to be Roy Rogers. It turns out that I just ended up working for like the closest thing to Roy Rogers.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like if I had to explain it, and that part's just crazy to me. Like
And it seems like the Rodeo Time podcast kind of taken off in the past year.
it really has.
Who's been your favorite podcast guest?
Man, Coulter Wall was tough to beat.
That was
really,
pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. He's a very unique individual, and I think he's pretty. Like it takes a special person to be in those shoes, I think, and I think he does well at it.
Told Joe Rogan no, can't tell Joe Brisbee no.
And he did. If you listen to the podcast, it wasn't like he, said "f you" or anything. Like he just was.
Said I'm busy.
He was just busy. Like he just didn't feel like doing it.
Yeah.
Or maybe not even didn't feel like it. I'm sure he wanted to, but he was busy.
Just
busy. Yeah, he just
ranching.
didn't really want to. Like, yeah. And
Cows don't know who Joe Rogan is.
That's wild.
Yeah, and he was very cool. The one with Trevor Brazil.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Even though I was a roughie, like that was it was cool to hear. It was cool to hear Trevor Brazil, like all of the cowboy things that he said. But the part that stuck with me the most was just when Trevor Brazil said it. He goes, "People ask me how do I feel like, or if I've ever been in a life or death situation." He goes, "Like none. I've never been in one. Like it was never like rope in 10th round of the world to win it or whatever." And he was like, "No, I was cool as a cucumber."
Yeah.
And that was pretty wild. 'Cause I think I can get pretty
It's pretty easy to
angsty
overthink
and nervous.
things.
Yeah,
And it's
I think we
amazing
all
how
do.
easy things are when you just simplify it.
yeah, like
Just keep it simple.
yeah.
Like
And
how you're
only
talking
it was
about your
that
bareback
easy.
riding.
if only it was. Well, I mean, bareback riding it wasn't like that for a while. Like
Yeah.
like I learned how to get calm on a bareback course, so that it was finally, like I said, when I had reckless abandon, where it wasn't. I mean, you're afraid as much as you need to be, but it was like, what are they going to do? Take my birthday?
Yeah.
Like, well, all right. Like,
I'd hate for that to happen.
exactly. Yeah, that'd be awful if they could.
That's
but,
something I found. Like, you remember when the Wright brothers came?
Yeah.
And like Rusty was like, trust your stuff.
Yeah.
Right over my head. Didn't even think about it. Like every single time a bull started turning back, I was like, well, I need to do this with my friend. I want to do that. I started thinking, and then, I mean, you saw it hundreds of times, probably more than anyone.
Yeah.
I'll just off to the edge. You know what? And I remember asking Josh, like, hey, do you like think like while you're riding? He's like, no, like
Yeah.
you can't think that fast. Like
Yeah.
it's all muscle memory. That's the stuff you work on when you're on the barrel, when you're on the horse. And like when I went to that deal to Kevin, like I went there just to get on the jump kicker.
Yeah.
Like I just wanted to like, let me ease my way and see if I still want to do this now. And the guy, like, stock contractor, was kind of a jerk about it. I didn't bring no jump kickers. Like if you want to get on, you can enter. I was like, all right. So I entered and I just didn't think about anything. And granted, it wasn't some super ranked cat, but
Yeah.
turned back to left right there in the latch and like about had him rode. And that was my first bull I rode in a year. And like, I didn't think about anything but staying in the middle.
Yeah.
And like now these past couple rods that I'm putting together, like away from my hand or into my hand, if I just think about staying in the middle, I don't overcomplicate it. It actually turns out it's a lot easier than I thought. Like now I'm like, maybe I can do this. Whereas before, like I was like, there's just no way. Like I'm getting on these bulls and there's just no way that I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Just got to get out of your own way, I suppose.
It's that simple.
Yep.
That simple.
Yeah, it really is. I had, yeah. Yes, Willie, get out of your own way. Camera break.
It's only taken me 4 years.
Yeah. What
I
was
still don't have any of it close figured out. But
Yeah. Get out of your own way and dare to be different. That's like the best. That's the best thing that best advice I've ever come across.
That's your best life advice?
It's good, man. That and
Say it again.
dare to be or get out of your own way and dare to be different. I suppose somebody, or no, the other good one, Marcus Aurelius. He just says like once you realize how little other people think about you, then like it's really not a big deal. Like I've always when I was working around a lot of really good guys, like I was really trying to earn their respect, and I did, but not because I was ever good at anything, but just because I tried really hard. And I think once you realize like, okay, that's not the biggest thing. You should be in it for yourself. I'm not trying to impress anybody, I suppose. You got to. I like riding bareback horses, but I liked more that who I was when I was riding bareback horses. That was good. I was just very, very goal driven, and I didn't need to worry about other things. It was I I can get spread out pretty quickly if I just stay inside my own head. And when I was riding bareback horses, you didn't need to. It was it was just nod your head and go. Didn't have time to get complicated,
One of the things you were talking about there reminded me about a Bible verse that I really like. I couldn't remember where it was, so I had to look it up. But in 1 Thessalonians, it says, "Make your ambition to lead a quiet life. You should mind your own business and work with your hands, so that your daily life may win the respect of the outsiders, and so that you will not be dependent upon anybody."
Yeah.
But you stay out of your own way. You do your job.
Yeah.
Just worry about yourself.
And that'll get the respect.
Exactly. And it's not that you shouldn't care about other people or some way, but once you
Not care about what people think about you.
take the competition out of it. We talk about that all the time at rodeo time, where yes, it is a competition, but if you take the competition out of it, well, then you don't. Then.
And especially for like the majority of the guys that come to Dale's and start rodeoing a lot later than when other guys, like take Donnie for instance, like what he got on his first bronc when he was like 24, 25. Mm-hmm. And like, I mean, it's the same thing with the bull riding. Like you see John Crember, who's 19.
Yeah.
And he's just killing it. And like Dale would always say that, because I'd always get like, do you think it's too late? And he's like, dude, you've got your own story. Like everyone has their own story. Donnie has it. Like let Donnie know. Donnie's riding the crap out of horses.
Yeah.
And he's stuck with it.
Yeah, and there's lots of guys, and just, I don't know.
You got your own story.
Depends on your own willingness to how far you want to take it,
And Donnie doesn't care what other people are saying. Like,
Yeah.
to quote he's not late, he's still alive, the great Lil Wayne, real G's move in silence like lasagna.
I've always said that. Yep.
Such a good, so good, so good, so good. I've always said that.
That's my daily affirmation. Yeah.
It's good though. 6 foot, 7 foot.
Being around, you've been around a lot of rodeo announcers.
Oh yeah.
You got a rodeo announcer voice?
I don't. I've announced a lot of rodeos.
Have you really?
Yeah, I was like a radio DJ at one point.
What?
Just at the college,
I DJ'd once.
I don't think I said a whole lot, but I got to play. It was Rodeo Time Radio. I think we still have a Facebook page too.
Rodeo Time Radio?
Yeah, and
Was this before Dale's?
yeah, it was before I worked at Dale's. I had a logo on there.
Copyright infringement.
Yeah, it was, but I figured that's like, we're not making any money, so you can't really sue me for anything, and I'm playing songs I think he would like.
You get a cease and assist on your desk now.
Yeah, Rodeo Time Radio, and basically it was just on super early in the morning, so all my ranching buddies would always call me, trying, tell me what songs to play, and I would basically just list off what songs we're going to play, and then maybe talk something, for an hour. But it was just so early in the morning, and I like doing it, but. I've announced some rodeos too, and no, I don't have an announcer voice. Like I kind of just tell it just the way it is. That's what happened, folks. And maybe I shouldn't, but I could be funny, like make people laugh. I'd announced this breakaway roping once, and it was very quiet. It was a breakaway roping and a calf roping, and it's like very quiet. And you got to think people aren't prepared for the announcer to make the kinds of jokes I was making.
Oh, okay.
Like they just expect it's going to be the same, and there are good announcers who are funny. But
Gonna be a time of
something like
7:68.
They're gonna be like a long walk back to the trailer. There, don't let them. But I was just like, well, you're gonna like Burt Reynolds on a bearskin rug. You're gonna want to Google that run later.
People just be.
So it was. I always had fun, but no, I don't have an announcer voice. I sound pretty much just like this.
What have you not done? Everything I say you've done.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just a lot of. I don't know.
You never played soccer.
I did too. We have the picture of it, man. I wasn't very good, but
I did too.
You said defensive, like I have done everything. I'm trying to think. No. Well, like I ran through like 5 things in my head, and like I vividly remember a story of each of those things that you did do. Like I was trying to find one. I was like, I don't remember a soccer story.
Yeah, I don't have any stories from soccer except
you did it.
There's a picture of me. Yeah, like one of my soccer pictures.
It's you and Messi.
Yeah, Messi up there. Yeah,
it's no big deal.
I took it. I don't remember much about soccer except I know that Bionicles were also famous that year. Like
they were. I forgot about them.
Lego things, but I just kind of always just I don't know. I guess I wasn't gonna say no to opportunities. I was gonna say no to opportunities, but for some reason I've just been very fortunate, been able to wear a lot of hats, and to this day I haven't turned in a resume. I think I have a good resume, but I've never had to use it. And Lord willing, I won't have to use it for a while. But yeah, I've just been very, very fortunate. Got to do a lot of things. There's few things that I want to do that I haven't got to. I used to think that I was going to be an astronaut for a while. I wrote this paper, Mrs. Horton, in my 6th grade class. She was a great teacher. She was my science teacher, and I wrote this. And there's this competition to get to go to Georgia or to Florida anyway. To get to go to the Space Center and see the space shuttle in your paper. It had to be on what you thought the next big project for NASA was, and I wrote a paper on how I thought the Saturn V rocket was going to be the one they took to Mars, and it is the rocket, but that's besides the point.
I was right.
It is.
I was right,
but I didn't win. But because she helped me with this paper, she got put into a different drawing, and she won. So she got to go to this trip, and me the jumpsuit and everything.
That's like the worst teacher ever.
And she brought me a hat and like a signed picture back.
I benefited off of you. Here's a hat.
I remember there was a brief period of time there where I really wanted to be a cowboy astronaut. And, I can just be a closeted nerd nowadays. It works out good. What
would you say to it didn't sound like you were born into the cowboy world.
No, rodeo cowboy, like my dad was a rodeo cowboy.
Yeah.
And he appreciated all of it because he's a Western artist, Snider on Instagram.
Shout out.
Danger Dan.
He always
Where can I find you on Instagram?
Just the Cole Snider.
The THA?
The Cole Snider.
The Cole
Snider. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Dad always just had an appreciation for it. Like Dad'll even Dad was very successful riding broncs too, and he had done a little bit of cowboying, but he more had this artistic eye, so he didn't have to be good at something to appreciate it. And I think with cowboying, anything, both my parents made sure that there's still the cardboard cutout of Roy Rogers that I got for my 5th or 6th birthday is still at the house.
Nice.
They just made sure that I always had the opportunity to be around cowboy stuff if I wanted to, and my dad would drive hours for us to go buck off at a junior rodeo. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or win a feed bucket or something for the rope and the dummy.
$30 and a feed bucket.
Meeting Miss Debbie and Danger Dan, they're pretty dang good people.
They are good people. They're
good people.
They're good parents. So I'm sorry, I interrupted your question.
No. So, what would your advice be? We talked about creative finance. A couple other things. What is your advice to someone wanting to get into the industry?
Don't be too good for a job. There's a time. Like I wanted to be a cowboy, right? And there is a lot of truth to if you want to be a good cowboy, you have to do cowboy things for sure. But for me, I wanted to be a rancher, So I spent plenty of time in a tractor or irrigating, flood irrigating. Like there was a whole summer I thought I was going to be on the cowboy crew, but I was flood irrigating, which means I drive around in a 4-wheeler with hip waders on, basically moving dams around, and I could weld, I could do all those things, I could work on tractors, I could keep things clean, I could do all these things, and I might not have been the best hand with a horse, I could do that too, but I needed to be good at all these things, and I could fix generators and keep these running, and the guys that I respected most, or not all of them, but a lot of the guys that I respected, They could just do anything. They weren't too good for a job. Be able to weld with your spurs on. Like, that's what it's all about. Not saying you put on your spurs to go weld, but don't
Have you ever put on your spurs to go to the bar?
Once, yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. When I was in college, I didn't care. I was basically feral. Like I didn't care. I would drink coffee. I would drink black coffee, eat jerky, and chew Copenhagen. You can subsist off of that for days. During those days, I definitely wore my spurs to the bar. I'm ashamed of it now, but you got to learn somehow, I suppose.
Yeah, you do. Wearing your spurs while you're
welding, we're ranching, and the guys that I was able to work at a lot of ranches and stay around good cowboys, buckaroos, and all kinds of type. Like it didn't matter. Because I could do anything that they wanted done at the ranch, that I was always going to have a job. And
you weren't getting paid very much, were you?
No, it was good enough for
to survive on. But I think a lot of people, like, I was trying to help someone here recently, and it's like you're not going to get paid out the wazoo. Like, how many people do you think apply for Dale's deal and say, hey, I'm expecting this payment? The majority of the people interns that Dale takes on, they offer to work for free for months.
Right.
Because they want it that bad. Because you got to make yourself valuable. You don't have any experience.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter what job, if it was ranching or not. And you want to get this job, but you have no experience, but you're expecting a payment.
Yeah.
Like, you got to realize, like, probably not going to get paid a whole lot, if anything, to get to get your foot in the door.
Well, and I don't know if it's good advice coming from me, because I'm not a millionaire or anything like that, but I've worked at a lot of ranches, but I tried to learn everything that I could, no matter what it was. Like, if it was how to fill a propane tank or something, like, I was skill heavy. Maybe I heard somebody say that once, but I was just like, I was going to learn as many skills as I could in my 20s. So it's like, no matter which direction I went, like, I was going to know what to do. And like I said, maybe if I stayed at it a couple more years and I got some wisdom on me, maybe I would have been a ranch manager. But in the meantime, it just made me just a well-rounded individual. Mm-hmm. The kind of peg that can fit into any hole. For lack, I don't know if that's a real analogy, but
I like it though.
And don't be too good for a job. I mean, if you want to,
like
it's like a lot of these feedlots where you might get to rope and ride as often as you want. You're gonna have to learn how to ride a tractor. You're gonna have to get your feed. You're gonna have to get your feed sheet right. And you're gonna have to learn how to shovel out a bunk. And a lot of people want to be cowboys.
I want to be horseback all day.
Yeah, and I think that's important that those people, if you really want to do that, that's where you put your mouth at. If you're going to ride horses every day, you damn sure better be doing it. And I just wanted to be a rancher, so I was going to be ranching every day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that would be my advice. Like, if you want to come be an R.A. Brown intern, if they ask you to drive the feed truck, you better get damn sure good at driving the feed truck. Mm-hmm. And because all them other opportunities, they'll sort themselves out when you figure out what you want to be specialized in. But in the meantime, like, don't be too good for a job. Especially if you're starting at the bottom, absolutely. You're not too good for any job. Like, how dare you say that
How dare you?
Like, the audacity. Once you have made yourself valuable in a certain place, then you can start, maybe then you can pick and choose. But I don't know, man. Some of the best cowboys I know can feed in a tractor all day if they have to. So that's my advice. Like I said, I don't know if it's good advice. But
No, I think it's nail on the head.
Yeah, I do too. I think a lot of people are looking for that perfect job right off the bat.
Right.
And really, there's been guys that are grinding on that feed truck right now, or moving those pivots, that are waiting for that opportunity and will be selected first.
Yeah. And when it comes to that one, I mean, you can either be first or you can be the best. Well, we're ranching. You damn sure aren't the first one. And, and odds are you aren't going to be the best, because nobody can ever know that.
Yeah, right. No unit of measurement.
Yeah, learn how to do everything. It's all, if you want to get good at horses, man, probably got to know a little bit about a cow too. Mm-hmm. It damn sure helps.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Anything else while you're on the register? Are you excited to get your first registered ranching cap?
I am. Yeah, I hear you guys have them. No, I'm just,
Somewhere around here.
I'm just kidding. No. Thank you guys for having me. Like I said, you guys have been great neighbors, and I just appreciate it. I'm always willing to come down to the R.A. Brown Ranch, and you guys help us out plenty. Guys, listen to Registered Ranching.
Nice way.
That's it. I was trying to think of more of it. But
I like the look in the camera for that.
Listen to the podcast. Buy the shirts.
I still come over and Lee check Cole's house.
Every now and then.
Hey, one more question. Was how long did you hold your hand on that car outside to get it?
24 hours.
24 hours. Hand on the car to get it.
That Camaro. If a Camaro pulls up to shoe your horse, it's probably me.
Well, we appreciate you, Cole. Thanks for jumping in with us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're my hero, Cole Snider.
You've been listening to the Registered Ranching Podcast. Thanks for hanging. Thanks for hanging with us.
She's bird medicine woman.
Hey, what?
Nothing.
Number 21.
2-1. 9 plus 10.
2025. All the way up.
That's right.
Maybe Dogecoin will go up too.
That's right.
Go to registeredranching.com. Check out some merch. We'll ship it to you. But two things that you cannot forget going into 2025.
Can't do it.
Y'all stay classy.
Ranch on them.
And ranch on them. We'll catch
ranch
you later.
On them. Thanks, Cole.
What are you laughing at?
It's so funny.